G'day guys and welcome. My name's Michael and I am the DeadAussieGamer, here to share with you my tips, tricks, ideas and strategies for playing and running tabletop role-playing games. Now, today's video we are going to be discussing how to design your very own playable race. But we're not going to be talking about mechanics or the nuts and bolts of things and how they all fit together, because that changes from game to game and setting to setting. Instead, we're going to be taking a look at how to build out a strong foundation for your playable race so that when you let go of the reins and allow your players to experience the world through the eyes of this race, they are going to have a fantastic experience with a very well-rounded and well-integrated race for your setting. So, where do we begin? Where do we start? Firstly, we need to ask ourselves, why are we making a playable race? What is our goal with this race? Now, your goal could be something along the lines of perpetuating a plot point within your narrative. Maybe you need the genocide of an entire species, thus you create an entire species to wipe off the planet. With very few survivors now lurking around, your players might end up being one of these long-lost races. It could be something along the lines of a cultural expression. Maybe you're trying to communicate the difficulty of living in the industrial age, but don't really want to focus on humans. So instead, you create your own race of these clockwork creatures who are trying to vie for energy and power in order to sustain themselves, and your commentary is on the culture there. Or maybe you have a player, a really annoying player, a player who doesn't want to play basic races and just constantly demands that their GM put in the effort to make brand new races. No idea what kind of incredibly rude person would do that. It's me. It's me. I do it. I do it all the time. To be fair though, I like uniqueness. I like variety. I like change, and I find it not difficult to play a pre-established race. But you know, if someone says, "Hey, here's a new race," even if I didn't build it, I'd be keen on that, you know, just because I like playing different things. I'm just weird. Just, you know, it's my style. So yeah, setting your goals, always the first thing you want to do. Sometimes you can solve the problems that your goal is trying to achieve without actually making an entire race. I had a player once approach me and ask me about playing a frill-necked lizard folk, to which I said, all right, cool. We'll take away your swim speed for a lizard folk, and we'll give you a frill ability, which says as a standard action, you can make an intimidate check against everyone around you. And he liked it, you know, then that was kind of it. I didn't really need to go too deep into, you know, anything else, because my goal in that instance was he wants to play something aesthetically different to a regular lizard folk. How do I achieve that? Cool, we give him a frill, take out his swimming, and now he is a desert lizard folk. Easy done. Easy peasy. So that's your first thing. Set your goal, and then as you continue through the rest of these steps, always try to revert back and just sort of go, okay, cool, what was my goal again? Oh, it was this. All right, let's keep going. All right, the next step is player RP. Now, keeping in mind, when you design your playable race, it needs to have something that you as a GM want to see at your table. Otherwise, there's no point to it. If you hate paladins, for example, and there's a lot of paladin hate going around, you know, the people who sort of go, nope, you can't do that. I am the paladin and I am the law, and this is exactly how this must be. And if it's not, you will be arrested and you will be hung, you scallywag. You know, these kind of characters can grate on people. And if you as a GM don't like that, or if you know that your players will not respond well to that, don't make a race of people who are incredibly anal retentive, who are you know, sort of antisocial, bureaucratic law people. You know, remember that your players are going to be RPing them, and how they RP it will really be, you know, kind of, it'll be the end result of whether or not you really enjoy or will hate that particular race. Keep it something simple, something that is open enough that you can have your players express themselves and really kind of get to know this race in the world that you've created without necessarily grating on everyone at the table. So always keeping in mind, your players will role play these. The next step here is the culture. Culture is so important. I dislike the idea of creating a playable race without having an inherent idea of what culture this race has. My biggest, most solid advice is do not try to make your brand new culture from the ground up. Don't make it from scratch. Find a reference. Take a race in the real world, the South Americans, the Canadians, the Egyptians, whoever. Find a race of people, whether they're modern, whether they're ancient, whether they're predictive futurisms, and then use that culture as a launching platform to build the culture of your race. For example, this electric eel-looking dude over here, looking at him as a picture, I would go, well, he's clearly an alien race. He's got high-tech gear, high-tech equipment. Easily could be kind of your Atlantean kind of character, because he's got the kind of green skin, gills on the side of his neck, very obvious signs that he's an aquatic race. So what kind of culture would that be? Well, if I was looking at an Atlantean race, what I would probably do is look at doing something Roman or Greek or Latin, something from the ancient times to indicate that kind of sense of age that has passed. Or perhaps this is a sci-fi adventure and they're from a foreign planet that is an aquatic planet. In which case, I might turn them into Pacific Islanders and actually say that that they actually scar themselves with tattoos in order to tell their life stories. That while they have high technologies, they're more technologies to keep them surviving at deep depths than to go into space. All these and more are about building and establishing that culture. And the better off your culture is, and the more easily your players can refer to it, the better experience that they're going to have when they're interacting with your world. To tell someone, all right, you're going to play a halfling. Your halfling comes from Dunsport, and of course he's got the typical Dunsport personality. Oh yeah, which is a what? Oh, it's the same as the halfling personality, the standard halfling personality. Which is what? You can't have nothing there. If you tell them, well, actually, they're a little bit on the Irish side, you can be like, oh, okay, so they're, kind of these people who come from the hillsides. They, have like cloudy skies, and they like their, talk fast, and they have a certain cadence to their speak. This and more builds up what they can play when they role play, and that's what you want to do with your culture. All right, next up, relationships. Now, no group should ever be an island. When you look at playable races, always try to think about what relationship they have with the other races within that particular world. What personality do they? What relationship do they have with the humans, with the dwarves, with perhaps the other aquatic races? If you're looking at Eelface over here, what is built upon? Are they xenophobic? Do they hate other people? Do they not associate with vicious outsiders? Are they incredibly friendly? Are they diplomatic? Do they have lots of allies all across the board? These questions help integrate the race into the world so that it doesn't just seem like, well, you're just playing the only eel-faced race character in the entire world. You'll eventually see that you as a GM will start populating the world based on those relationships. If, for example, the halflings happen to get along with the eels, then yeah, sure, of course, you'll find a town. There'll be people in the dockyards. There'll be the eel people who, sort of work underneath the ships, helping repair it, while the halflings do, the inventory and all the paperwork and stuff like that. Easy relationship to build upon. The last thing we want to look at is, of course, our variations. Now, while it's very easy to get the race going to begin, once we've got our mechanics down, once we've got all of these particular steps up to this point done, you want to then add a little bit of spice to it. Every single race has variations. Humankind is varied by the place that they are born. You have the dwarves, you've got the high mountain dwarves, the deep mountain dwarves, the hill dwarves. You've got the sea elves, the wood elves, the high elves, the frost elves. Have similar variations with your race. and then find out and explore what those variations could be. With the Atlantean eel person, maybe we've got a deep sea one who actually has crystal clear skin, vicious, long, sharp teeth like an anglerfish. Maybe there are those who had long since forgotten where they'd come from and migrated away, so they're not used to the harsh oceanic views and are instead cliffside versions of the Atlanteans. These variations and more create that nice spice that make it feel like these guys have been around for a long, long time. And that's what you will really want to do with your playable race. Alright guys, well that's pretty much all I've got for today. Sadly, I am feeling rather under the weather, so normally I would go for a little bit longer. But if you do have any questions about designing your playable race, leave them in the comments below and I will try to get to each and every one of them. The last thing I'm going to leave you guys on in terms of designing your playable race is do not neglect the aesthetic of your race. Don't simply go, well, here's the mechanics, these are the goals, this is all that. You know, building out and giving your creature a visual presence is just like the final touch, that moment where you realize that it is an actual thing in your game. So don't hesitate to write down like a small sentence or paragraph describing what your playable race is like. Because while they can look like absolutely anything, it is up to you to kind of create that visual style that is going to meet your goal, that your players are going to really enjoy to role play, and of course that is going to just make your world just feel that much more real. You know, don't say, okay, cool, I'm going to put in a guy whose head's a frying pan if you're not playing in a comedy-based setting. Likewise, do not make these super edgy, kind of hard, vicious, murderous kind of characters if you're playing in a sort of a kids sort of science fiction sort of game. You know, like, play it by ear. Understand exactly why it is you're building stuff, and you'll never go wrong. Alright guys, thank you so much for joining us. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Go check us out on all our other different forms of media. We've got Facebook, we've got Twitter, we got Twitch, we got all the stuff. And come hang out on Discord. I love meeting people on Discord. We got tons of the people from YouTube already coming and saying hi and hanging out. So yeah, join us. Have a lot of fun. And if you want to support DeadAussieGamer, head on over to our Patreon page at patreon.com/DeadAussieGamer, and you can donate to help us keep the lights on and keep making these fun and helpful videos. So, without any further ado, thank you so much for joining us. Until next time, game hard or die trying. See you guys.